biggest story of the week, and Rangers manager latest, Davide Ancelotti's name popped up. Obviously, his famous dad, Carlo, who I happen to call Carlos at a press conference a few years ago, much to my embarrassment in front of the world media.
Did you get a raised eyebrow?
No, but I got a great answer, in fairness, and answer, even though I got his name wrong. But this is the name that's been lots of Rangers fans all week. It's a moving story, obviously. Things can change, and it might be that it's not quite happening, it might be happening. But what do you make of it? Seems to be one that's dividing opinion. What do you think about it, Graeme?
Yeah, well, Carlo's obviously the godfather.
Carlos,
yep. And they always say, what's the line? Just when thought they were out, I think it's just when he thought he was in. He's now could be headed to Brazil. This is obviously an evolving story, but I think it's the interesting bit to me this week with Davide Ancelotti is where Rangers are as a club. So if it had been years of titles and on and off, but the dominance of Celtic, any kind of appointment that's not box office like, maybe the tried and tested Gerrard or a name like Mourinho scares Rangers fans in any form. Someone, maybe Sean Dyche is too traditional, or someone like David Ancelotti is a bit of a wild card. But I think his CV stacks up in the sense he's a coach of substance. If that translates itself to a manager, it's a huge risk. I think there's a safety element to the fact that he seems to be rated within the 49ers. Kevin Thelwell in the past, that the guy who maybe understands that type of appointment could work, but there's mammoth risks attached with it, and I think it might be good news for Rangers if Brazil and Carlo Ancelotti says to come on, Davide, come and join and try and win the World Cup over there.
Yeah.
How do you think it's played out?
Yeah, I think it's with some jiggery pokery going on as well. And I think there's a lot of managers linked with this job and a lot of interest in the job, and he's one of them. I think Rangers would be remiss not to kind of consider him if he's been thrown in their path to consider. Would he have the kind of jobs he's had if it wasn't for his old man? Probably not. Let's be honest. But people you speak to seem to think he's a coach of some merit. Can't hurt having probably the best manager of all time as his old man. I mean, unfortunately, my dad was a coalman, so and he couldn't, and he's hopeless at golf. So I picked up some of his traits. I'm always digging myself into holes, and I'm rubbish at golf.
Do you think with Carlo Ancelotti, as much as he's helping his son out with the opportunity he's had, do you think he'd give him such a remit? He seems to have a very important role within the setup, that do very well. Do you think that would be the case if he didn't have something about him?
No, I think good players would have seen through him if he was hopeless. So I think, yeah, I think it's too big a gamble for Rangers at this point in time. I think you're right. I think Rangers need to have a bit more. It's a job, a tough job. It needs somebody with a bit of clout in there. And I don't think that a family name is just going to cut it in terms of clout. I think you need someone who's managed club before and we can steer Rangers through this next stage. Because it's going to be a tough job.